One of the most common tracks to make is an instrument track. And the instrument track, or software instrument track, is a track that is basically a MIDI track, except for it already has an instrument built in. So it will send out MIDI, but directly connect it to sounds that are stored in the computer. So let's take a quick look at what's going on with the instrument, or software instrument. Sometimes people also call these virtual instruments. These are instruments that have some type of software interface like this, and in the background, somewhere on the hard drive in the computer, they have a bunch of audio files stored. Oftentimes they're stored with a bunch of other stuff done to them in a format that only can be read by the software instrument, but essentially they're recordings that are originally done with microphones and things like this. I'm playing some sound in here at the moment that's being triggered by MIDI. Play with MIDI keyboard and the sound comes out. And I can change it to a bunch of other things. And where is this all coming from? Well, if I go to my hard drive, here in the Pro Tools Era Music Technology area, this thing is called Expand 2. And if I go inside of it, ultimately, this thing, expand2.big, nice extension name there, is this huge file here. We can see 1.57 gigabytes. So inside of here, a ton of information is stored. All kinds of audio files are stored. And this audio instrument accesses them when I click on something. Here it's going to load up some sound that's stored inside this file here, this big giant group of audio files that are inside of this thing. Kind of bad sounding brass sound there. Let's look at another one that's a bit easier to understand. I've loaded this one by Native Instruments. And these things in Pro Tools, they're affectionately called generically VSTs, Virtual Studio Technology. But really, there's a bunch of different formats that allow programs like Pro Tools or Logic or whatever to load extra stuff into them, instruments and audio effects. These things are generically called VSTs, but there's actually specific names for them, like Pro Tools is called AAX, and Logic inside there they have AU for audio units. There's other ones as well too. Let's click on this to open it up. It's a plugin by the company Native Instruments called Kontakt. Kontakt is an audio sampler, so it stores all these sounds from instruments, and it can also record them and stuff too. I've loaded this one in here, Cello Solo, and inside this software instrument, if I click this little wrench here, it's going to let me look to see where all the samples are and what's being done with them. So I'm going to click that, and now check it out. If I click this button here, B, it plays back this particular sample. I can play back other ones too. I'm going to go back to this B here. And if I click kind of softly, you'll see a little red dot. Let's look at that more carefully. That's how hard I'm hitting the key. Once I get past this area, there's actually a separate audio file stored here. It was a louder recording. Sounds a bit different. Even louder. That's the sound of me really pounding it there. But if I hit it softer, it triggers this sample down here. So it's a more complex sound because I have several different audio files recorded for each different note of the instrument. You can see the whole thing down here if I push play. It has it there that can be edited and everything. So there's a bunch of different sounds recorded for this one instrument, and then when I hit the MIDI keys, it triggers them to be played back. And it's exit out of there, and I can just play it like an instrument now.